Welcome to Bedstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm still a sick Trevor Scott, and with me as always is Ben Slinger.
Yeah. Hey, I know something about game design. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know anything about game design. Even though we've been doing this for, what are we up to? Episode 39 is this one is, I think. So
Yeah.
we still don't know anything about game design. What's wrong with us?
Well, I suppose what we do know is that we like games, and we know what doesn't work.
Yeah. We're fine. Well, yeah, you just spent 20 minutes talking to me off air about all the things that are wrong with VR adventure games. So you know what's wrong with game design. Yeah, I think we'll see if any of our game ideas tend towards adventure games in VR, which, knowing us, they will this week, and maybe some of those criticisms and ideas will come up in the course of the show.
But either way, we're not part of the game design community. We're just two guys who love games.
That's it. So shall we get into it?
So, Ben, Click Pitch is a game where we both have a random word generator in front of us.
Sounds like fun.
We count down 3, 2, 1, click, and we both click refresh and see what words we both get, and we can turn into game designs.
Okay.
And then we pitch them at each other.
We pitch them. Take this. This is a curveball, this one. Oh, I haven't actually clicked yet.
No, neither have I. 3, 2, 1, click. And that wasn't a click, that was a Coke opening.
3, 2, 1, Coke.
May the random word generator gods shine down on us today as I present our finalist.
Borrowing.
Ooh.
So is this a contest to see who can borrow things the best?
Well, see, I was taking the idea of the final person to borrow something. So maybe there's some sort of murder afoot.
It's kind of like a hot potato sort of thing. If you're the final person with the thing, then you win.
Then you win.
All right, I have something else, but I like this murder kind of direction. So let's explore that a little bit. And if it is terrible, then I'll bring up my idea.
So I'm seeing it as, you know how in The Simpsons, Homer Simpson always seems to be borrowing stuff from his neighbor, Ned Flanders.
Yes.
And so everything has got like property of Ned Flanders written on it.
Yep.
So I'm imagining it's a game where your neighbor has been borrowing all your equipment, and you've reached your final straw.
Okay.
You've reached your final straw, and you go over there to collect them. And it's maybe an action adventure game in which you have to rummage through this guy's house,
finding all the things that have your name on them.
Yeah, pretty much.
See, I thought you were going to go in a direction of there's been a murder, but it's in this community where everyone's always borrowing things off each other, so you don't know. So the murder weapon has like tons of fingerprints all over it, and you have to figure out who the final person to borrow it was. So that's sort of your path of investigation is tracking down. Oh no, well I lent it to Jim, that machete because he needed to cut down some really tough weeds in his garden.
So you track back through to Jim's place and it's like, oh no. I borrowed this off Michael.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I hacked down those weeds, and then Michael came over and said he really needed to scrape some paint off his house. All the uses
that was attached to a person.
All the uses for a machete in your average suburban neighborhood, you know. So it's almost a bit of Cluedo mixed with LA Noire, or like some of those sort of investigative sort of games.
And then when you get to the final person and you work out who the murderer is, then another case comes up and you've got to do the same thing all over again.
Yeah, it's really repetitive. It's actually a terribly boring game. This time,
because it's in VR, it's fun.
Yeah, everything's fun in VR. That should be our new tagline. Well, since we've had two ideas now that haven't really panned out, I did have one other thing.
Okay.
Was that you are a borrower as in a tiny person who lives in somebody's house.
Yep.
And you have some sort of contest. It's like who can run around the house fastest without being seen and borrow things.
Yep.
Collecting food, collecting tools, catapulting yourself across the kitchen. I don't know. Maybe it's just like a platform racer, but you're a borrower in a kitchen. It's basically Little Big Planet. I think I just made Little Big Planet.
Yeah, I think you did.
Or that
but the way
yarn game.
The way that we could change it is it's in VR.
For fuck's sake. 3, 2, 1, click.
Belch.
Belch? Like to burp? To burp? Belch? Okay.
To burp.
Thoroughfare. I'm just getting visions of a busy road where everyone's burping. Like, that doesn't really, it's not a game in any way. It's just disgusting.
Okay, so when do you normally belch? After a fine meal, you belch.
Okay.
So it's set in this busy district of the city where there's all these awesome restaurants, and you can tell how well each of the restaurants are doing from the fact that as the patrons exit, they're belching.
Yeah.
So you, as a
belch sniffer.
No, I'm actually seeing it as sort of like a 1930s sort of. You're like a mafioso sort of guy going down trying to hit up all the places for like their protection money.
Right, but there's just people coming out of them burping, belching.
Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking that that's one part of it. You can tell which
restaurants are doing
places
well.
Which ones are doing well by the quality of the burps that are coming out.
The quality, so it's not just the quantity, it's the quality. You've got some sort of measurement system. You give them a sniff. It's like how opaque they are. It's like, whoa, I could barely see through that one. How chunky.
So I'm imagining that it's a
So you probably don't want a belch to be chunky because that means the food's probably not very good.
I think the fact that if it's a chunky belch, then it's actually a little bit more than a belch. I think they've actually thrown up.
Yeah, that's called vomiting.
Thought you got to say some other word then.
What?
I don't know what.
Oh,
I just thought there was going to be something.
My pause was just pregnant enough to make your mind go crazy. Okay, I'm not sure where that game can go is my thing. I feel like the belching should be some sort of maybe obstacle or propulsion.
Now I'm just picturing that scene from the Willy Wonka. Where
the fizzy lifting drinks?
The fizzy lifting drinks. And then they're burping to go down.
Yeah.
So now I'm picturing that it's a finally Willy Wonka has actually developed this drink and has released it out into the public.
Okay.
And so it's going really, really well. But because of the early accidents that were occurring, there's new air traffic laws that are actually in place.
Okay. Okay. So I like this. So basically, and this is where thoroughfare comes in, is you have your like flight paths for people who have been drinking the fizzy lifting drink. Yeah. And they're using it. So it just basically become a new method of transport. It was meant to be a tasty drink, but it turns out that it just completely revolutionized transportation.
So
particularly when they discovered that when you're floating, farting like gives you a real propulsion through the air. So it's like drink, take off, fart your way to where you're going, burp your way down,
and just hope that you don't have the runs.
That's why the flight paths are in place to make sure they're not over anybody who's gonna be shat upon. Okay, I think shitting aside, I think he could do some like. I'm picturing an open world kind of thing, right? Like a Crackdown or something where this is because those games. What makes or breaks them is always your traversal, right? Like how you get around. You really need to, it needs to be fun to get around the big city or desert or fucking racetrack or whatever. So yeah, I mean, if we can make this feel real good, so you're running along, you hit a button to chug a bottle of fizzy lifting drink, Wonka's fizzy lifting drink, WFLD for short. And, you just start zooming up into the air and then you've got limited propulsion around. It becomes a real challenge to get where you're going or to at least to land exactly where you want because you have to time those burps just right. Like every time you burp, you just like drop out of the sky. It's like heavy turbulence sort of thing. It just like drops you in midair until you're sort of caught at that lower level where your inner lifting equalizes with the atmosphere or something.
Yep.
We'll come up with some scientific way of how it actually works.
I'm now picturing this as you play a police officer in this new world, and
okay, so we're mixing up the policewoman plunge from last week, and now it's.
I don't know. I didn't listen.
Of course you didn't.
Yeah, I listened.
I know.
Yeah, that was actually awesome.
No, I like that. That's you can be.
But so I'm saying because of this, I don't know. Is there some sort of story that's happening behind the scenes in which too much consumption is actually a bad thing, and can actually have some sort of dangerous effect? So it's sort of like a
gives you.
It's a risk versus reward. You know how in the Dishonored games, if you go around killing everyone, then it does something to the world.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing it like if you go around, catching all these people via using the fizzy lifting drinks,
okay,
and going off and catching them in the air, and if that's the way that these bank robbers are getting away, is there a way of actually driving along underneath them and
grappling hooks,
trying to be at the right place at the right time?
I like it. I like
to catch them.
I like it being the opposite of Just Cause. There's all these other people floating around with the fizzy lifting drink, but you know that it's like is going to give you cancer, so you don't want to use it. So you're using your grappling hook just to pull them back down. It's not you flying around grappling onto things. It's you're on the ground and you've got a grappling hook to like yank criminals out of the air.
And there's other power ups in which you can Spider-Man around everywhere, but obviously. If you're coming down, you're coming down hard.
Well, that's it. If you use the fizzy, when you do decide to use the fizzy lifting drink, you can then use that grappling hook to like pull yourself around. But yeah, you do have to be careful.
So I'm seeing it that there's this sort of a couple of different ways through the game in which you can be using the fizzy lifting drink all the way, but there's certain events that actually happen if you do that, and there's a certain storyline that goes down if you do that, and if you don't use any at all, then it goes down a different sort of storyline.
Oh well, I think the main storyline is generally uncovering the fact that Wonka knew the whole time that this was an incredibly dangerous product. Just like the cigarettes companies back in the 50s or whatever, trying to cover up the fact that the fizzy lifting drink gives you butt cancer.
And anal leakage.
May cause anal leakage. Yeah, they did have that on the package, but everyone ignores that. So on anal leakage, I think maybe we'll finish that one.
3, 2, 1, click.
Exponential
nutrient.
Exponential nutrients. So some sort of growing game. Okay, you've got something. Let me ramble on through my mind for a little bit.
So it's all about homeopathy.
Okay.
And as you continue to dilute the nutrients, they grow exponentially.
Yes.
That's how it works, isn't it? That's how the universe works.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. In the minds of morons. Okay. We can. So should we just take that concept and just generally use the word homeopathy as our prompt, or is it something around generating homeopathic treatments? So basically, filling things up from the tap. Or is it something about the way homeopathy affects the world? Obviously not in a direct method because it's just fucking water. But I should have moved away.
Look,
I should have moved away from the mic for that. But in the way
I don't know whether you can hear it at the moment.
Oh, is that your homeopathic dinosaur poo solution?
Yes, this is my homeopathic shit water. All the goodness of shit that's been filtered is filtered through.
But it's like cures like, so you'll never shit again. You just got cured of shitting. Well done.
Hang on a couple of minutes. Didn't work.
Leave the microphone on. You need to prove to us.
Okay.
We can't see each other, so it's a double-blind test.
Oh god.
Yeah. Okay.
That's enough of us shitting on.
We've said shit and diarrhea and anal leakage too many times in this episode. Like this episode's going down the toilet. Okay.
Okay. So, have you got anything for exponential nutrient?
No. I think we could. I mean, if we have anything around homeopathy, I think we can take that. Otherwise, it's just, I don't know. I was thinking of some sort of plant growing something. I don't know. Did you have
and the amount of nutrients from the manure that you need is exponentially large?
I don't know. I mean, it's along the lines of the more you grow, you use the waste from that to the bio waste to fertilize the rest of it, and that means you can grow more and use that to grow more, and that's exponential.
Yeah,
that's
true.
not very interesting, though. That's just fucking Farmville.
Let's click again.
All right.
3, 2, 1, click.
Okay, tell me yours.
Livestock.
Okay. 60. Just the number 60.
Just the number 60. Okay, so
this is going to be another poo game, isn't it?
No. 1960s.
Okay.
Livestock instead of Woodstock.
Okay. This is an alternate universe where Woodstock was called Livestock. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's...
And you took the brown acid.
It's a game.
You took the brown acid, and it's a very trippy game.
So I'm picturing it being you're a security guard at Livestock.
At Livestock. Yeah.
Get it right. It's Livestock. So I'm imagining it to be sort of like a open world game in which you've got to try and go and get certain things for the different acts that go up on stage. So some of the one of the acts that's about to go on wants brown acid, so you've got to go out and try and source that brown acid for them.
So you've okay.
Then there's a fight happening over at this stage, so you've got to head out there and help break that up, and you could have some sort of maybe some sort of creepy mystery about one of the acts being murdered, and you've got 3 days to solve this murder before everyone disappears.
So it's a VR adventure game. Yeah, okay. VR or not, I like this idea of it kind of being this, like narrative kind of open world narrative game set at Livestock, the big music festival in the 60s. Lots of people around. Everything's muddy. Drugs everywhere, sex everywhere, music's going all the time. And you're kind of...
a murder happens.
Oh, okay. So it's a murder mystery. On stage? Backstage?
Maybe on stage, maybe backstage. I'm thinking backstage because you kind of only want a few witnesses because you don't really want to have to, be going through a whole heap of drug-addled fans witness testimonies.
So it's so if someone comes out and they say there's been a horrible accident and the Grateful Dead are dead, and we're all grateful.
Oh, no.
That's horrible. No, like one of the musical acts has been murdered,
And they were 27.
of course they were 27. And yeah, so you have to solve it. And there's a big challenge of solving an act when everybody you speak to is drug-addled or fucking or a musician.
Yeah. So I'm picturing it's going to be sort of like you've got 3 days to solve this because the murderer is going to literally
Oh yeah, like they'll just leave with the crowd. Is that when
they'll escape with the crowd. You know that they haven't gotten away because no one was allowed to leave this.
Yeah, like
this thing.
It's in the middle of nowhere. As soon as it happens, you're able to like lock it down. There's all this open space around where all these people are. So you're able to lock it down to the fact that all right, nobody can leave. If they try to leave, they'll be spotted a mile away because they're sort of out of the crowd and out of the area. So that they're still in that zone, but there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people there. So
yeah, you got 3 days and 50,000
people,
50,000 suspects,
and you have to interview all of them. That's the whole game.
I'm now seeing this as sort of like 3 days, one murder, 50,000 suspects.
Yeah, totally.
And, that's the tagline, and throughout the entire game, you can sort of work it out to be, maybe a certain subset of fans. So you can maybe limit it down to.
Yeah, there's some sort of feud going on between the Grateful Dead and the Who fans.
And you've got witness testimonies of people at the back who say that this person was wearing
witness testimonies out the back. Yeah, he totally floated in on a rainbow cloud and then threw a fish at the guy that turned into a crocodile and bit his head off. And then it dug into the ground and flapped away in a musical harmony that made me want to kiss the ground. And you're just like noting it down. Okay. But
maybe you could pepper in some song lyrics in there as well.
But what I was going to say is, like, you actually have to like decipher the drug-addled testimony to pull out the fact that he was wearing a t-shirt with a fish on it, and that's why he said he threw a fish at him. And there's some sort of I think fish came later. PHISH. It's not a good
crocodile boots on, so that's where the crocodile came from. And
yeah,
I know you can go down and decipher some of it. I'm imagining all the different possibilities of you've got a whole heap of different groups that you can talk to. Maybe there's X number of witnesses that are sort of seen out the back, but the more I talk about this, the more I think of Room Full of Garfields.
yeah, it's a little bit similar to that.
But it's not set at a
convention,
Comic-Con or whatever.
No, I think we can make this different enough. I think there are different challenges. Although
challenges, I mean, it's set in what 1960s, so therefore you've got flower power happening and whole heap of awesome things.
Yeah. Maybe this is just the start of our new franchise of murder mysteries set in like public places as period pieces. Because I'm pretty sure Room Full of Garfields was set in the 80s, wasn't it?
Probably.
Next we'll do one in the 40s. We'll just keep jumping back 20 years or so. Yeah. Anyway,
you got anything else for this?
No, I like the general idea. You could definitely put in a lot of good jokes and stuff around the bands and the music and drugs and whatever. But like we said at the beginning, we don't know anything about comedy, so we're not going to attempt that. We'll leave it up to your imagination, listener.
Yes, our level of comedy has already been clearly shown.
Oh, we're spent. That was it. What you just heard, that was the extent of it. Let's click again and see if we can...
for the moment.
See if we can come up with something else funny. Judge.
Oh, God.
Did you get Judy? No. Reinhold?
Okay, I had to click a few times because...
Those are the two best judges.
Because some of the words that I got were ones that we've actually already done.
Okay.
So your word was judge.
Judge.
Baboon.
Judge Baboon.
Yep.
I like it. It kind of writes itself, really. It's
Jungle Court.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a courtroom. So it's a courtroom game set in the jungle, obviously. Judge Baboon presiding.
Yep.
He's got a fucking gorilla for a bailiff.
Yep.
Please don't blame us if these creatures don't actually live together in real life. We don't care. They're all
we don't give
animals.
a shit. They're anthropomorphic, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah. They travelled there. They're fucking expats.
So now I'm just literally picturing you get presented two arguments.
Okay.
And Judge Judy style, you get to
adjudicate.
Adjudicate. One of the cool things about this game is that as someone's talking, if you don't like what they're saying, you know how she interrupts people.
Yeah.
How Judge Judy interrupts people. Well, Judge Baboon also interrupts people, but he interrupts them by throwing bananas, not feces, like you thought I was going to say.
No, I thought you were going to say he just screams like that fucking piercing baboon scream to get him to shut up. But okay, he throws bananas. That's racist. Yep. That is so racist. But anyway.
Okay, feces.
Yeah, okay. So, gameplay-wise, I mean, is it just... I mean, let's think of other sort of courtroom games. You've got Phoenix Wright sort of style thing, although you don't play it. Obviously, you don't play a judge
Objection.
in that, but... are there any others? I don't really know any others other than just having it as a sort of standard conversational puzzle sort of thing.
I'm seeing that in this type of thing, there's obviously no lawyers. They're all
it's just like sort of civil
coming themselves and
complaints,
civil disputes. Yeah. You have to listen and then adjudicate based on that. Okay. And maybe there can be a storyline behind it that, people...
You get to know some of these people as they come into your courtroom multiple times. Yeah.
Maybe you can, if you keep on leaning on one particular side, then, they start, giving you extra bananas on the side.
Okay, so there's corruption in place. Potentially,
there could be corruption in place, and you get to.
That's one of the choices.
Choose how Judge Baboon actually goes.
Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, everyone keeps on watching that Judge Judy show. I mean, it's been on for what, 28 fucking years.
That's a good guess. Very specific. Sure.
Yeah. So I'm now picturing that you could literally just take cases straight out of there and just reimagine it for animals.
Jesus fuck, there's 5,909 episodes of Judge Judy.
Fuck me. That is a lot of episodes.
That's insane.
And there's how many cases a day? That's like, what, 2 or 3 cases a day.
And it's only been running for 21 years.
21 years.
So you're close. But I bet you wouldn't have guessed that many fucking episodes. Jesus Christ.
No. Tell me the truth. How many did you actually guess there would be in episodes?
Oh, I didn't guess. I wanted to see if you were right on the 28 years.
Maybe about 1,000 or, maybe 1,500, but not 5,000.
21 years. I guess that's an episode. That's less than an episode a day for all that time, right? So it's just been daily. I mean, if it's just weekdays, that's 5,460 weekdays in that time. So
I'm seeing a lot of DLC.
Had some weekend specials. Yeah, DLC. That's it. It's basically, I was going to say it's soap opera. It's soap opera-ish, I guess. But I like the idea. If you could make this in a way that you could just write new stories for it without having to do a lot of code and a lot of new artwork and stuff. You could bring out episodes daily. We're going to get 5,909 episodes of this fucking thing.
I don't want to sound racist.
Okay.
A lot of animals look the same to me.
So the lion that came to complain about his girlfriend stealing his puppy, his puma. I just want Geraldine back, because that's what you call your pet puma, is Geraldine. Yep. Everyone knows that. If you're a lion,
and so you listen to these things, you can attack.
Attack them. No, you can attack. You can attack their testimony.
Attack their arguments.
Yeah.
You can,
Or you can, if you really want, you can attack them. I mean, baboons can be pretty aggressive.
But
you can turn around, show them your butt.
Oh God. So I'm now picturing, you got. It doesn't all have to be voice acted, because I mean that's literally going to take a long time to actually do. So to actually churn this out, we're going to be able to sell seasons. So in the DLC you'll have, with it you get seasons 1 through 5 for free, and maybe within seasons 1 through 5 you've got maybe 200 something cases. But then we keep on adding more seasons that you can then purchase for, like, I don't know, whatever a good price is for another 30, 40 cases.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I could see this just becoming, it's like, I'm gonna do my Judge Baboon case over my lunch break, and and there is this underlying story that's happening that kind of creeps up, or occasionally you'll get, a set of 10 cases that's a bit of a story, that presents a bit of a story arc, and maybe requires you to have played the previous ones. I think you have to do them in order.
Yeah, and then you could do that telltale thing of other people attack the testimony during this time.
It could be a bit of a social thing to really show what your other people, what your friends, how your friends did it, how many people overall judged one way or another, or made certain decisions. Yeah,
and maybe depending on when you actually interrupt a testimony, maybe you missed something that was crucial.
Yeah.
So depending on how good the metrics are, your system could actually be because you didn't click at this time and you didn't push hard enough on this part of the testimony, you actually missed out that the lion has actually been abusing Geraldine, and you should never have
you should never have granted him custody again.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like that.
I've seen it as an iPhone game. I see lots of these sort of things. People play a lot of these murder mystery sort of games on the iPhone.
Yeah, that'd work well.
Why wouldn't they play Judge Baboon?
No, I think that'd work really well, actually. This is actually a really smart idea, I think. I think you could actually do this really well. Because, you don't need a lot of art assets. You can occasionally add new animals or something, but again, they can be reused. If you do it well, you can just switch out their clothes and stuff. Pretty easily. Yeah, it's that'd work. That'd work well. And of course, you can unlock hats for Judge Baboon.
Of course. I mean, that's just opening up for if you do really well on the microtransactions. Yeah, if you do really well, the seasons are also part of the microtransactions.
Yeah.
Maybe the seasons are like something that you purchase on the side, but you also have like every day you release a new case. So,
right.
As part of your free cases, that you release one a day, and there's like a small pack of like, maybe 2 seasons worth of cases that you get with the purchase of the initial game.
Well, no, you'd want to start at free to play. You'd want to start at free to play. You get the first, get the first couple seasons for free, and then we start charging you for more.
Yeah. So, it sounds very much like, you get your first taste for free and the good shit's...
Oh, definitely. I mean,
the good shit's going to cost you a fuckload of money.
That's how fucking iPhone games work, man. That's their business model. They just stole it from the drug trade. All right, that's cool.
That's so wrong.
I feel like somebody could actually run with that and make a fuckballs of money, but yeah.
So come back next week when we when we announce the release date for Judge Baboon.
And if I see someone bringing out fucking Judge Rhesus, then we're going to know you stole our idea. That's the only other fucking...
Through to one click.
Primate I could think of. Okay. Send.
Anxiety.
So this is a word where you can send emotions through email.
I was sort of trying to come up with some sort of...
or...
Some sort of...
Yeah, go on.
Narrative game around having just sent a text, and you got that anxiety of, can you get to this person before they read the text, so you can maybe delete it off their phone or something like that.
There's a lot of anxiety around sending things, because it could be around wanting to send an email or a text or something that is, you don't know how to say it, or it's been so long that since they sent it to you that now it's going to look weird if you reply 3 weeks later.
3 weeks?
That's quick. No, okay.
Jeez,
so
I'd be lucky to message you back sometimes within a week.
You're the only person who I actually have regular conversations with online anymore. Everyone else end up waiting a week before I reply and just peters out. Okay. But you've just sent a text, so you need to distract them to get their phone and delete it? Is that it?
I'm thinking that, the intro movie is setting up the scene that, this is something that you've wanted to send for a long time, but then when you sent it out, you realize that you didn't really want to.
So is this,
or a coworker comes up and just clicks the enter button on the send.
So is this an expression of unrequited love? Is it giving someone a piece of your mind? Is it
it could be
someone
any one
for
of those
money?
things. It could be any one of those things, and I'm just imagining the anxiety of sending an unfinished email to I'm seeing unrequited love could be the most anxiety inducing.
Maybe it's different in every level. Maybe it's like an arcade sort of game where every level starts off with you sending a text to someone and then wishing you could take it back. So you have to run through the level and dodge all the obstacles and get to their phone before they get back. You have to do things like, I don't know, distract them in certain ways. Call a friend to come and, I don't know, fucking break the microwave that they're trying to eat lunch at because this level's set in an office because it's a coworker, or it's your boss who you finally told them what you think of them, and then realize that you actually like your like having money in your pocket, and so decide to take it back. And so you get the most points.
Down the bottom, you get an anxiety meter.
Yeah, okay. I feel like that would start off maxed out after that sort of situation.
Yeah, it's at max, but it depends on what you actually do. Depends on whether it gets to dangerously overfilled sort of levels, or whether you can actually relieve some of that anxiety by, I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to wonder what sort of gameplay it was.
I'm thinking that you have multiple win conditions, right? Like you get the most points if you manage to get their phone, somehow get their passcode, log in, delete the text, put it back where you found it without them being at all suspicious, right? That's maximum points.
Yeah.
Less points, you just completely destroy their phone, but at least they haven't seen it. Minimum points, or maybe this is like a stopgap for your anxiety or something. You send them a follow-up text where it's just like, lol, JK. and just hope that was enough to...
For some reason, the gameplay that I'm seeing is like... Remember that game Paperboy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm picturing that sort of 45-degree angle.
Okay.
You're running... and having to jump over things. You're not obviously delivering any papers or anything like that, but there's you're running along a street and there's people mowing their lawns and and
Well,
there's someone watering their garden and kids trying to trip you up with jump ropes.
Well, okay, here's the thing. So there's multiple aspects to each time you play this. There's getting to wherever the person's phone is, and it starts off, and it could be multiple things. If you've got a car, you start off in a car. Maybe you run out of petrol, then you have to be running, like you're saying. And so, but that whole thing is, it's that sort of 45-degree angle. You've got a few sort of positions. You can just, drive left or right to dodge things, get out of the way, go up on the sidewalk if you need to, lose points if you kill people. But then when you
gain a lot more anxiety as cops start following you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the thing. You don't lose points if you get arrested, as long as you destroy the phone or delete the text. But then the next part is you get to where you're going, and then it's kind of a stealth / distractions. I'm almost picturing. Did you ever play that game? What? Miss something. It was like a stealth stealing game. Miss something. Miss Take. The Marvelous Miss Take. It's actually kind of cool, and you're sneaking around at a sort of isometric, like 3D but isometric-ish, like top-down view, having to like hide behind things, get away from guards. You've got sort of little tricks up your sleeve. So I'm picturing that, but every level, like if it's your boss, then you're in like the office building, yeah. And so you're walking around behind cubicles and sneaking around, and you have to somehow find out their passcode or I don't know, steal their fucking thumbprint or something, right? Like somehow get into their phone, and that you either you can do that or not. If it took you too long to get there, you can just destroy the phone. You can just throw it out the window. But like if you can steal it, if the boss sees you, right, you're gonna get fired anyway. If he sees you throwing your fucking phone out the window. So yeah, there's things you can do to distract them. But it's different for different things. So maybe if it's, the boy you had an unrequited crush on, then it's set in a park or something, or, wherever that person happened to be. If it's, you asked your dad for money, then it's at the house you grew up in. And if you get caught, they're just like, oh, I didn't think you were visiting today. What are you doing here?
You travelled all the way from New York?
Yeah.
We live in Sydney.
It's just a whole level where you spend 20 hours on a plane trying to keep your anxiety down. No, I like...
oh, that email. I read that like an hour ago.
Like 6 hours ago. Yeah, you can have some money.
And maybe that's the thing. If they do actually catch it, and catch you, or you don't even have to really do anything. You can just sit there as your anxiety meter just
skyrockets, and
you're just like, oh my god!
And then it always just turns out fine. Like the boss goes, oh yeah, I do that a lot. Criticism taken. Yeah. The boy you're
complete and utter asshole.
The boy you're into is like, oh, now that I think of it, I am madly in love with you. Yeah.
And your dad just messaged back, no, you're not having any money. It's like,
But I love you. Anyway, even though you asked me for money.
What do you need the money for?
Sex toys.
Oh, that's fine then.
As long as you share. Right. 3, 2, 1, click.
Sharing's caring.
And the next word I got is jerk.
Drumstick.
Okay. So you're a drummer who is a jerk with a drumstick. No.
Sounds like you're just explaining a drummer to me.
Exactly. That's my point. So you work in a Caribbean restaurant making jerked chicken. It's a cooking game. But also, you're kind of a jerk and you're a drummer.
Okay, so what sort of gameplay?
Maybe it's a cooking game that you have to play on the Rock Band drums.
Ooh.
That could be kind of cool, actually.
So what I'm seeing is like one of those sort of steel drum sort of things with like the concave. You put all the spices down on it, and if you bang it in the right position, you know that all the spices get mixed in together, and you throw the chicken at the right time, and you can sort of get that Caribbean steel drum music happening.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I kind of like this idea of a rhythmic cooking game.
So I'm picturing, have you ever like had something on like a drum kit? Like some sort of powder or something like that?
Yeah. Well,
if
not
you
personally,
just
but I know
whack
what you mean.
willy-nilly, if you just whack willy-nilly, it's going to go everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you want to keep it within this steel drum, you know, you gotta whack different areas to try and counteract all the vibrations. It's not going to actually be the Rock Band drums. You're going to create a new peripheral for it, and so it'll actually know where on the steel drum you're actually banging, so that you can, you know, sort of work out where to keep the spices, how to keep the spices in the drum kit itself.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, there's obviously, there needs to be a rhythmic aspect to it, though. Like, is there music going on that you're playing to?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's a new peripheral. It's a steel drum peripheral.
Yep.
And it matches up with what's happening on the screen. And so, okay, so I'm just trying to picture how that would look. So, yeah, you hit in certain places, and that basically bounces the powder off. So are you cooking in this? You're just cooking in this steel drum. It's basically a steel drum that you're cooking in.
I think depending on what thing is on the screen depends on, you know, what you're actually doing with the steel drum. So you may just be mixing the herbs in this particular part. So, you know, you're hitting around the steel drum to create your rhythm for the herb mixing part. And then when you get to cooking, it's like it's a different sort of thing.
Right.
You need to
it's like
hit in this sort of pattern so that you can flip the chicken.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, that's cool. So I'm just trying to picture what's on the screen. Like, are you just seeing the drum on the screen, and because you want it to work into some sort of music or some sort of rhythmic thing? Like, do you get notes coming down that match certain things that, or is that too easy then? Like, there needs to be some sort of. I mean, the gameplay is that you're trying to, like, you need to make the decisions, right, to hit in particular places to actually physically knock this thing around.
So I'm now seeing, like, as the notes are coming in, kind of like, I'm seeing it almost like a Dance Dance Revolution sort of thing. As it's coming up, you got maybe 8 different points in which you can hit on the drum. But as it gets to a point, like the actual drum itself, like the physical drum, will actually light up in the point that you were supposed to have hit.
Okay.
You've got that sort of, you can look down at the drum, you can look up, and you'll know when something needs to be hit, because depending on where it's actually going into the drum, you'll sort of be able to tell on the screen where you need to be hitting next. But you've also got a visual representation on the instrument itself.
Yeah.
Because I know that whenever I play an instrument, like literally like the bass guitar, I'm not looking out. I'm usually looking down at my bloody instrument, so I know where what I'm actually hitting at this time. Yeah. So if I'm looking down at this instrument, I need to know what I mean, that's fine.
That's fine. I feel like all we're making now is, and this might be might be okay, is that it's a Rock Band style game for the steel drum, but it obviously it'll affect the cooking that's going on the screen, but you're not actually making any decisions about like how to best cook things. I get it's almost just a visualization. It's just a visualization of it. The better you play, the more like the tastier the dish will be. And if you fuck things up, then like it means you burnt that side because you missed the note that would have flipped it. I guess that's fine.
I don't know. Where else can you see it going?
Well, yeah, I guess it was more. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to actually have any sort of gameplay that's not just hitting notes at the time in time with the music. Because if you're having to do something strategic, I mean, I guess the only analog I can think of is like Donkey Konga, where the level is designed in such a way that if you hit the beats at the right time, it will sound good, and you'll like. There are certain points in the level that you'll get like your ideal run. And if you do it at that point, it will also sound good. But if your timing's a bit off, not only will it not sound as good just because of the nature of the music, but you will not succeed in the game as well. But that's I feel like that's a little bit more difficult to translate into cooking than platforming, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, in general, that's a cool idea and quite unique, I think.
Very unique.
Yeah.
Okay, let's click for one last click pitch.
Okie dokie.
3, 2, 1, click.
Snack.
Tawny.
As in like a tawny owl, like the color, like the sort of, pattern, I suppose. TAWNY.
Of orange brown or yellowish brown color.
Tawny snack. I mean, my mind did go to the tawny owl, which is a breed of owl. So maybe this is an owl simulator.
Okay. And you're searching for a snack.
You're searching for a snack. So a mouse, a squirrel, a baby. Whatever you can find, man. You're hungry. You're a hungry fucking owl. It's the middle of the night. That baby has escaped his house. Too bad.
My mind just went to a small kid on a tricycle.
Yeah, exactly. Ringing the bell as you pick them up and carry them away.
Oh shit.
So I mean, there could be it could be quite rewarding just to fly around as an owl, right? Swoop down, grab small animals, pick them up. So
you got owl vision?
Yeah. So I guess where's the challenge going to come? That you could have to hunt at different times of the night. So there's probably going to be an ideal time for an owl and their eyesight to hunt. So that could affect your owl vision, right? Like
well, they're nocturnal animals, so
yeah. I think some owls perhaps like hunt best at dusk or something when there's still a little bit of light rather than like the dead of night or whatever, you know, something like that. I'm sure there are differences, and so perhaps it's sort of balancing your hunger and energy against the actually hunting at the ideal time of day. Okay,
so maybe it starts off and you're living in your mum and dad's nest.
Okay, so this is like you're starting as a child, as a baby owl. A mini owl.
And your parents get captured and taken to a zoo. So you've immediately got this antagonist of humans.
Okay.
So that can come back in later on in the thing when you're taking babies and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing now that, you know, it's a coming of age story of this owl. You know how in Papers, Please, how you've got that sort of diminishing returns, your aunt, your brother or whatever, you know, and they start off okay, but then at the end of each day, if you haven't caught enough food and that sort of stuff, your brothers and sisters are sort of,
and there's basically no way you can actually provide enough for everybody. Particularly at the beginning when you don't have resources and such.
So I'm picturing that it's sort of like you're learning to hunt. So at first you can't travel too far from the tree because you're not very strong.
Yeah.
So there's your progression of as you gradually get stronger, you know, you can
venture further.
So at first you're sort of like trying to capture just small field mice and whatever else you can sort of get, maybe worms. I don't know what owls eat.
It's mainly rodents and birds, apparently. Other birds.
So maybe that's one of the things. You see a bird flying out at night and, you know, you got to lock onto it and sort of fly around trying to take them out.
Yeah.
I know.
Earthworms and beetles as well.
Could be quite a bit of fun.
Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, for sure. So you're starting small things. There's a different challenge of hunting something that, like another bird that is flying versus something that's on the ground. It's sort of all about tracking your prey, without them seeing you, and then getting to them before they can hide under something, and choosing the right time to really do that sort of final swoop and grab.
So I'm thinking as you progress further, you start getting bigger than what you ever sort of have any other sort of owl has before, because there's something a little bit different about you. So now your prey has been upgraded to like house cats, and like small poodles,
Pugs.
So it just gradually builds up and up and up until finally you can start stalking humans and.
So how big do you fucking get?
Well, I'm picturing that maybe this some of the backstory that you can find out.
Well, maybe it was that like your whole family was captured and taken to the zoo, and experimented on, but you managed to escape, and so in the classic superhero fashion, you were radiated upon, and that means that you are capable, with this now. Diverse and abundant food source at your feet, you are capable of basically endless growth as long as you can keep eating. And
obviously, if you start capturing humans and that sort of stuff, you need more and more to sustain your now huge.
Yeah, body. Absolutely. So, and that becomes a big challenge because humans fight back. You start to get a reputation as a giant fucking human eating owl would get. And so they start protecting themselves, and you get more humans with guns, and there are traps, and there are ambushes and hunters. And
so I'm picturing that there's a couple of different storylines that you can go down. You can either befriend the humans, or you can eat them.
Wait, so how do you befriend them? Are you also? Did this radiation also make you like super intelligent and able to communicate?
I'm thinking of it kind of like. You know how there's hawks and stuff that can like follow commands.
Okay.
I'm picturing that this owl where he lives, it's actually on this mad scientist's preserve. Okay. Sort of like he's got a massive mansion, and you can like investigate the mansion and that sort of stuff. And obviously you can't read human writing, but we can actually read human writing, and you can maybe piece together. I
love the idea that this game is basically like Batman Arkham City, except you're an owl. Like you're basically the owl superhero, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
And so maybe you can actually start like protecting some of the other owls in this particular reserve.
Yeah.
Like,
well, maybe there's an aspect of building up your kind of army of allies in a way that you can call upon as a special attack at certain times. And so depending on how many of the sort of areas you've unlocked by bringing them food or doing things for them, you can...
Yep. Yeah. So I'm picturing, you can have Nightwing.
Yeah.
Robins.
Yeah. Bats. I mean...
Batgirl.
Totally.
And the mad scientist is...
He's a bit of a joker.
No, I was actually thinking Mr. Wayne.
Right, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Maybe we won't go down that direction. Although I kind of do like the idea of that it actually is Batman, and you're just this owl who's like, maybe you're actually one of the villains against Batman. No, okay. I think let's ignore the Batman thing. Because I do like this idea though of it just being that sort of feeling, right? Like going around this relatively open world. Again, good traversal because you're flying around, you're sort of swooping down, you're zooming, you're grabbing food, growing, and you do have to balance. Like as you get bigger, you need larger and larger creatures to sustain yourself. Side quests, which basically do unlock powers where you can call upon your bat friends when you need, when you're in a particularly sticky situation because they've set an ambush for you.
Well, there was actually a storyline in the Batman universe in which the big enemies were the Court of Owls.
I mean, I'm not fucking surprised
because owls are actually a like natural predator of bats.
Batman has fought everyone. So, yeah, okay. Yeah. There can be some Batman Easter eggs.
Yeah, you could actually set it within Gotham City. It just doesn't have to actually physically say it. Maybe
you get some little clues.
Depending on what time of night and that sort of stuff. If you look up into the sky, you just see the bat signal.
You see a few like fucking Riddler question marks around. You can't actually do anything with them. Just waiting there for Batman. But then the sequel is like a full-on team up between you and Batman. I'm just gonna say one thing that I find hilarious about this game is that owls, after eating things, like vomit up the indigestible parts as these like little gross pellets. So I'm just picturing like these fucking owls becoming a superhero, but it's just leaving these giant human-sized like piles of bones, hair, and like indigestible fat or something.
Oh god!
And just like freaking the fuck out of all the humans around. The owl has been here.
But you can tell just how good a feed he's had because of the belch.
And we come full circle, folks.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. I like that.
Yeah, I'd play that. Wait, cut that out. We'll put it at the end.
Everything's better in VR.
Everything's better in VR, motherfuckers.
I'd like to thank you all for joining us here on Bitstorm.
Yeah, thanks.
You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram by searching for Bitstormcast on all of those. Check us out on iTunes. Rate, review, subscribe there. We have a website, bitstormcast.com, and we'd like to thank Kuridas for the song Mad Defiance off of the album Containment Failure. You can find that at kuridas.net.
I'd like to plug the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. We've made a lot of great friends there. It's a great group of other gaming podcasts, as you would imagine. Check them out on Facebook or the hashtag AGPN on Twitter. We would like to also plug Podchaser, which is a...
No, we wouldn't.
Fuck off. I'd like to tell you about Podchaser, just a new site for rating and reviewing and finding new podcasts, created by yours truly, in part. But you can find us there. Search for us, Bitstorm, leave us a rating or review. It's a much nicer interface than iTunes, so check it out.
Says you.
We also have a Facebook group now where we are putting up a listener click pitch every week on Fridays, generally when I don't forget to put it up. You can come there and we'll put up some prompts and you can comment and tell us the ideas that come to you for those prompts. And we usually put up our ideas as well. There were some good ones this week by me and by our good friend Michael, who we unfortunately ran out of time to talk about them this week, but we may, if we have time in future, talk about the ideas that come up in that group. And I'd also like to mention...
Hopefully not ideas that we come up with, though.
Yeah, we would like
listener
we
ideas.
would like to mostly focus on listener ideas. But, hey, you and I come up with some really good ideas on that group sometimes that I just need to talk about on the cast. I'd also like to mention a campaign that we are part of going to be part of in October, which is the 2 Pods a Day campaign. Trevor and I have just listened to 3 episodes of other podcasts that are going to be featured in that campaign. Our reviews are going to go up on the site as they come out. Basically, 2 podcasts a day for every day in October will be featured, and we will be one of them. So check out hashtag 2 Pods a Day. There are campaigns there for the previous 2 months that he's done. And it's a good way to find new podcasts that you otherwise might not have seen. So yeah, that's cool.
And at the end of each of those reviews, if you happen to read the reviews of the episodes that we did, just picture there being an "I concur," and that's me saying I agree with everything Ben said.
Yeah, I wrote the reviews. Trevor agrees. So anyway, I think that's the end of our podcast this week. So I have been Ben Slinger.
I have been Trevor Scott.
And
everything's better in
play
VR.
That. Everything's better, and I'd play that in VR.